In this video, we're going to unbox and assemble this Cybervelo EK11 Fat Tire e-bike. I'm going to go step by step on assembling this, but before we get started unboxing, I hope that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and a link to this bike is above, which helps support the channel. So let's get after it. As you can see, everything is really well packaged in the box. Right here are the keys for the battery, so you want to take note that they're in here. Let's see what's in this box. All right, so the pedals are in here. This is the charger for the battery. It's nice. It comes with all the tools that you're going to need to assemble the bikes. Tucked inside the box is the pump for the tires, which is nice. And then this will be the headlight. So be careful when taking out of the box. It's definitely a two-man job, or lay it down and slide the bike out. Like I said, take note that here are the keys for the battery. I'm going to disconnect those, save them in a safe place. Be careful with the handlebars so they don't fall and pinch cables. And then just start taking off the other pieces. Here is the battery. I'm going to go ahead and get this charging. Got the battery charging, and you can see here it comes with a 48 volt 30 amp hour battery, which is pretty impressive for a bike of this price point. There's also a slightly less expensive 20 amp hour version, but that will give you less range. First thing I recommend doing is pumping up the tires. They came deflated, and you want to make sure that the bead is seated properly. And what you may want to do is set the tire down like this. Take the pump and connect it to the tire nozzle. Tighten that down. Then you're going to take this lever. You're going to push it down, and then this metal will come down, and then you can put one foot here, and then the other one you can pump up the tire nice and easy. Now take note when the tire starts to seat on the wheel that it's centered. See how it can move around? And you want to make sure that the bead is centered on the wheel, or else you'll have a flat spot or it won't ride appropriately. Now make sure that you don't overinflate the tire. It says on here that inflate to 20 to 30 psi. I'm going to go to about 22 psi. Okay, tire is inflated to 22 psi. I'm going to do the same for the rear tire. I had to lay the bike down to get the weight off this tire so it would seat properly. From being in that shipping box, there's a big flat spot on the tire. So go ahead and inflate this, making sure that the bead is centered as much as possible. You can always go back and get that bead seated after you get it assembled. I'm going to go ahead and put about 20 psi into this. First part that I want to install is the handlebars on the head tube, and I want to use a 4mm hex that's in this multi-tool, and you're going to remove the 4 bolts that retain the stem cap. Remove that cap, and now what I want to do is bring up the handlebars. I want to make sure that my cables are to the front like this. And so you're going to line up these ridges on the handlebars to the center of the stem cap like that. This would help if you had a friend, but you can do this. It's a little bit tricky holding this up. reinstall those 4 screws. Getting that handlebar centered in a good position. You can always come back and adjust the angle and position, but once it's installed, it'll help you install the front wheel. There is a torque on here. It says 6 Newton meters max. If you have a torque wrench, that would be ideal, but if not, just get it tight and then quarter turn past, tight, and then quarter turn past. Okay. In this segment, we're going to install the front fender and the front tire. You're going to need to install this front fender before this wheel, and what you're going to do is a 5mm hex with this 10mm wrench. Remove this bolt that holds the fender on. Go ahead and remove that. And then you're going to slide the tabs, one on the front of the fork stanchion, one on the back, slide that in, and then just reattach the nut and screw. To help with this, you may want to bring it up as high as you can. I'm just going to put it on there finger tight, and then I can put on the front wheel. Now, this is where it might help having a friend. You're going to remove the hardware that's on here. You're going to see that there is a nut, and then you're going to see that there's a washer with a little tab on it. Now, this tab washer needs to lock into the fork, so you want to remove both sides. What you want to do is make sure that you remove the brake caliper clip if it did get shipped with one, so that the rotor can go inside the caliper. Make sure the rotor is on this side over here, and you want to lift up the front of the bike, and then just set the fork right on the axle and look on this side and get your brake caliper lined up. And then it should just drop right on like you see here. And then you're going to take that washer with a little tab on it, and you're going to engage it in the hole on the fork, and then tighten down the nut on this side. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Put that washer on with the nut. I'm going to use a 16mm wrench. I'm going to tighten this down. Just go about a quarter turn past tight. And just make sure that those washers with the tab are engaged on the fork, because that's a safety item. I've heard of people riding and the wheel falls off. So you really want to make sure that that's engaged and make sure that the wheel doesn't wobble. In the box, there's these little caps. These little caps cover the bolts on the front here, and you can just slide them on. Looks kind of neat. I'm going to put the other one on the other side. Now you can move back up here and adjust the fender clearance as you see fit. If you like the fender nice and tight to the wheel or raise it up a little bit, I'm going to keep it about midway there. Go ahead and tighten that down. To install the rear shock, you're going to use these two tools, a dedicated 5mm hex wrench that came in the toolkit, along with the 5mm hex on the multi-tool. And you're going to lift up the seat, and you're going to get the rear bolt hole on the shock aligned with the clevis and the fork. And then you'll slide the bolts in there, and then you'll use both wrenches to tighten them down. In this segment, we're going to install the crank. You're going to need this 8mm hex tool that came in the toolkit, and you're going to remove the bolt from the end of the crank on this side. You may have to hold the other side of the crank arm and just remove. Now, when you install the crank arm on this side, make sure that it's opposite the other side. So since that one's down, I want to make sure that this is up. I'm going to take the chain and just set it right up like that. So I want to make sure that this is up. Goes on like that. And I'm going to reinstall this crank arm bolt using the 8mm hex tool. Get it tight like that, and then give it about a half a turn. There we have it. And then you're going to take the chain and you're going to pull forward on the shifter in the back and engage the chain on the front sprocket like that. And now we have the chain installed. While I'm down here, I'm going to install the pedals. On the end of each pedal there is an R and an L. The left one I already installed. This is the right one. You can see here on the crank, it tells you which way to turn. You're going to use the 16mm wrench and go ahead and tighten it. On the left-hand side, the threads are opposite, so you'll need to turn it the opposite way, but this one tells me to go in the clockwise direction. Go ahead and tighten that up. All right. While we're up here, we're going to install the headlight. We're going to use a 5mm hex and loosen this bolt on the top of the fork. And you're going to take this bracket, and you'll see there's little tabs on here so that the headlight doesn't roll around. And you're going to put those flats on the top, and you're going to install the screw here on the bottom. Then you're going to reach up here and connect the two blue connections. You're going to see there's little arrows on the top that will align them. And then just tuck that behind there. And then remove that. Headlight looks really cool. I can't wait to see it at night. While I'm up here, I'm also going to connect this harness. I saw that there's a loose wire here to the main harness. You can see that little arrow. I'm going to find the arrow on this. There that is. And there's also a little tab. Align those. To install the seat, you're going to use a 5mm hex and remove these 5 screws from the back of the seat. And now I'm going to flip the seat over and align the seat like this with these different holes. Looks like that one is right here. So I'm going to start with the one here in the middle. Reach under here, get that aligned. These two up here in the front are really tight with the frame. So it was a tight fit here with the frame crossbar, but I was able to get all the bolts in. It did take me a little extra time, but got the seat installed. It did take a little bit of adjustment to get that on there. I wish they'd make some adjustment. I do want to fix this tail light, and I want to bend this down. It got bent during shipping, and then I can remove the plastic. So this fender is rubbing on the tire. So what I need to do is make an adjustment to the fender. So I'm going to just loosen these bolts. And then raise this fender up. Make some adjustment like that. Kind of bending this up. And now I'm going to go ahead, just tighten that back down. It's no longer rubbing. I'll hold this up while I tighten this down. Like that. Do the same thing over here. I got the bike fully assembled now, and the battery's still charging. So while the battery's still charging, I'm going to go ahead and check the handlebar position and alignment, see if everything looks good. If the handlebar's out of alignment, you'll need to loosen this stem cap and straighten that out. It looks pretty good. The handlebars are in a nice, comfortable riding position for me. Now, if you're a little bit taller or long arms, you may want to roll the handlebars forward. If you're a little bit shorter, you may want to bring them back. But overall, they're in pretty good condition. In this segment, I'm going to show you how to install and test the battery. To test the battery, you can put your finger on the button here, and you can see that it's fully charged now. And then to install it in the frame, what you're going to do is bring it in the frame, then push down, and then using the keys, you'll lock the battery into the frame. Please keep one of these keys at home, because I've heard a lot in the comments about people losing both keys while they're out riding, and then the battery's stuck in the frame. So keep one in a safe place. And now let's turn on the bike. With the battery installed, we're going to reach down and we're going to turn on the battery, and then we're going to turn on the screen using the power button. That's the outermost button, and you'll see that the screen comes on. Now, to increase your speed or pedal assist modes, you're going to hit the plus button. You'll see there's 5 pedal assist modes. To go down, you're going to hit the minus button. So let's see what she'll do in pedal assist mode 5. Shows about 31 miles an hour. Now that's with no load on it. I'm going to take it out and do a full speed run with a GPS app to validate the speed. There's different options on the display. The default is the odometer. If you hit the power button one more time, it goes into the trip for the active session. The next time it's the voltage. It's right now at 52 volts. And then the time duration for that trip. And then one more time, it brings you back to the odometer. To turn on the headlight, you're going to hold the plus button for about 2 seconds, and the headlight will illuminate. And then to shut the headlight off, hold the plus button again, it will shut off. There is a USB plug here on the bottom, which is nice. You can use it to charge your phone or any auxiliaries. And this is the battery signal. It has 5 bars from full to empty. And you get nice features with this display. It is small, but it is easy to read, and it leaves access to other devices you could put on the handlebars, such as a cargo bag. There is a horn over here. You get a 12 shifter here. And this is the half twist throttle. This is the rear brake. This is the front brake. And you can see that with the brakes, it has the sensor in there to kill the motor. So if you're going fast like this, you hit the brake and it automatically deactivates the motor. Then if I let go, you'll see that it starts up again. The screen is set to miles per hour. If you want to change that, I'll show you how to go into the advanced settings menu. So to get to the advanced settings menu, hold the plus and minus button for about 3 seconds, and you'll get into the advanced settings. This is P01. That is the screen brightness. So if you want to change the brightness of the screen or dim it, just simply change it. You get 3 settings. That's the brightest, medium, and low. I'm going to leave it as 2, which is the medium. And then to move to the next settings, hit the power button. P02, this is for miles or kilometers. If you want kilometers, set it to 00. Miles is 1. Moving on to the next settings, P03, this is the battery voltage. I'm going to leave that at 48 volts. P04, this is the LCD screen hibernation. 10 minutes and the screen will automatically shut off. P05, this is the pedal assist modes. You can set it to 3. 5 is the default, and then 9 different settings. P06, this is the wheel diameter. That's the outside diameter of the tire is 24 inches. I'm going to leave that as the default. P07 is the magnets. That's set at 1. I'm going to leave that at the default. P08, this is the speed setting. It's set to kilometers, 51 kilometers. I'm going to go and set it as high as it can go, which is probably like around 100. It won't do 100, but at least it'll be set to be not restricted. I'm going to go all the way up, 100 kilometers per hour. And then P09, this is a setting that is locked. P10, this is the drive mode. This is 02. This allows you to pedal and use the throttle. If you want to just do the throttle, you're going to set that at 01. And then if you want to just use the pedal assist and deactivate the throttle over here, you're going to set that to 00. P11 is the sensitivity. I'm going to leave that at the default. P12 is the assistant intensity. I'm going to leave that at the default. And then P13 is the power magnets. I'm going to leave that at the default. P14. This looks like it may be the amps. It's set to 18. I'm going to set it as high as it can go. This will get me the max acceleration. Looks like 20 is the highest it will go, so I'm going to set that. P15, this is the under voltage of the battery when it cuts out at 41 volts. And then P16, this says it is the future settings, and then it gets you back to the main menu. So you can either hit the plus and minus button to save those settings, or it will automatically time out. That's all the settings. I hope that you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments, and thanks for watching.